Have you ever wanted to just build an arcade machine? Well, I did, and I was broke. You're gonna need a bit of determination and some help, but as you can see, it just turned out awesome. So starting at the top here, I actually designed a marquee. I used to work at a print shop, so I knew someone who could print me some backlit vinyl. I decided to name it One Genuine Acme Rocket-Powered Nostalgia Generator, which is way too long of a name, but I just thought it was funny. Everything just kind of flies in through space. You might recognize some of these characters. I thought it was cute to put Donkey Kong in the little box and have Mario and Pauline, I think, from the Donkey Kong game, just as a little Easter egg. But what you might not notice is I got a little Easter egg on this artwork. So next to this planet on this little moon here, I got a little ship from the game Lunar Lander. I don't know if you know that game, but it's hilarious and I had to include it somewhere. And people usually get a kick out of it when they find out. Well, you don't have to do that at all. You don't need any artwork. It's just something that I was in a position to do, but you can wait on that. I also knew a friend who was getting rid of a fluorescent light tube, and I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, take it. And I was like, thanks, man. Those are just some old computer speakers I had laying around, but you can use whatever you got, or maybe your friends and family got some old speakers or something. I actually ran my video and audio through my TV for a bit before I dug up my old speakers. So the real story here is I got laid off my job, so I was on the yaw and I had no extra money to spend on this thing, but I was like, you know what, it would be really cool to figure out how to make an arcade machine, so I was just determined to start somehow. So this was in 2015, I discovered the MAME emulator, and the Hyperkin menu system was really popular at the time, so I used both of those together and it worked out really well. Another emulator on here called DICE, and it's Discrete Logic Systems. It basically runs games like Palm and Breakout and stuff like that. It works better with spinner controllers, but they were like $70 each at the time, and I was like, yeah, I don't have money to spend on this thing. So my main goal is to get an arcade stick. So this is hilarious. In the MAME emulator, I got one game called Ninja Baseball Batman, and the only way to explain it is you're actually a Batman. You're like this baseball hero. So, sorry, dude. So my friend was going to recycle these two old computers with Windows 7 on them and was like, just take them, man. So I took them, and luckily one of them worked. So I just run this single core computer for the arcade machine. But you can use a Wii or anything you want. But finding an old computer like this that somebody doesn't want is probably your best bet. There's a keyboard drawer here just in case I gotta get back out into Windows 7 to add some more games. But I mainly just use it to store my mini console controllers. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. How did I get the arcade stick with no money? Well, basically I had to do a side hustle, so I knew how to repair old consoles like Nintendos and Ataris and Super Nintendos, so I'd buy broken ones, and I actually made a deal with a manager at a recycling depot to take any old consoles that might come in so I could fix them up and sell them. I also bought and sold some games, but that really wasn't getting me enough money to get that tank stick that I wanted with the trackball, so I actually made the painful decision to sell my Vectrex, and I just bought that when I was working construction, so I figured I could just, transform a Vectrex, which is like a little arcade machine, into a full-size arcade machine, so I just went for it. I actually made a little Easter egg on the menu system. You can see this little Vectrex icon as you're scrolling through the menus, which I thought was a nice little dedication. But that's going to be your biggest challenge, especially if you don't have any extra money to spend on it. Just remember, when you start a project like this, where there's a will, there's a way. This X-Arcade Tankstick is really tough. It lives up to its name. You can go mad on this thing and it won't break. I have this machine set up so you can hit a button on the left side for player 1 or the right side for player 2 for quarters, so it's free to play. But my friends keep telling me that I should install a donation bucket somewhere for a pizza fund. I mainly wanted this for the trackball because I knew me and my friends could have fun with it, but people have used it so aggressively they've actually chipped the paint with their nails, but I just leave it there because I think it adds character. There's actually one more crucial thing that you need to build an arcade machine, and that's the actual body itself. So what are you going to do for that? I had already used my side hustle cash on the arcade stick. I actually drew up some blueprints and sent them to my dad, and I was like, man, how can I build this thing? I actually saw someone getting rid of an old arcade machine, but it was all rotted out, so it was no good. But my dad told me that I could build it with 2 sheets of plywood. And I was like, really? And he said, yeah, just let me know when you're free. I'll give you a hand with it. And I was like, all right. It was so cool that my dad helped me build the body of this thing. It was really fun. And also, it's a good idea to leave a couple of holes in the back so the heat can escape, and I just picked up some mesh material from the dollar store. And he was a genius. He said, you know what, if you cut it in half, it'd be a lot easier to take apart and travel. And you know what, I was going back to university, so I did travel around a lot. And it seemed like whatever apartment I went in, it was easy just to take apart, it was lightweight to move, and we didn't build it too wide, so it fit into any apartment I moved into. I always wanted to put some artwork or something on the side, but it looks so cool, I just left it how it is. But I don't know, there's just something really unique about it. And you know what? My friends love going over to play it. There's been nights that we've planned to go out, but we've been up to like 3 or 4 in the morning playing this thing, and we completely forgot. My nephew even wanted to play this thing. I had to put a conference cooler underneath him so we could reach the buttons. So yeah, you really don't need much to get started with one of these things. If you enjoyed this, please share the video and subscribe. And for everyone who subscribed so far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Take care.